What if you could rise above the relentless ping of notifications, the overwhelming scroll of social media, and the pressure to stay perpetually plugged in? At Stoic Way, we believe the ancient wisdom of Stoicism holds the secret to not just surviving but thriving in today's digital whirlwind. In this deep dive, we'll explore how to practice Stoicism in the digital age, a philosophy that equips you with the tools to conquer chaos and cultivate unshakable resilience. From understanding its modern relevance to mastering online discipline, simplifying your digital world, and embracing mindful engagement, we're here to guide you step by step. Join Stoic Way on this transformative journey to unlock a life of clarity, strength, and purpose amidst the digital storm. In an era where our lives are tethered to screens, the digital age can feel like a ceaseless torrent of distractions, mails demanding instant replies, notifications vying for attention, and social media feeds that never end. It's a world where overwhelm lurks around every corner, threatening to drown us in noise. Yet, amidst this chaos, Stoicism emerges as a timeless lighthouse, illuminating a path to inner peace. Far from just gritting your teeth through hardship, Stoicism is a vibrant philosophy centered on living in harmony with nature's rhythms and fostering a tranquil soul. It's about flourishing eudaimonia, a state where true contentment flows not from external applause but from within. Consider how we measure success today: a flood of likes on a post, a growing follower count, or viral shares. These metrics can feel intoxicating, but Stoicism challenges us to redefine achievement. It calls us to nurture virtues, wisdom to discern what matters, courage to stand firm, temperance to resist excess, and justice to act with integrity. Picture yourself scrolling through Instagram, bombarded by curated perfection. Instead of chasing that hollow validation, Stoicism urges you to turn inward, asking, does this align with who I want to be? By rooting our actions in these principles, we uncover a fulfillment that no algorithm can measure, a quiet joy that persists whether the comments glow with praise or sting with critique. Then there's amor fati, the Stoic love of fate, a concept that feels revolutionary online. The digital realm is unpredictable. One day, your tweet soars, the next, it's buried under backlash. Embracing amor fati means welcoming every outcome with open arms, celebrating the wins, learning from the losses, and refusing to let either define you. Imagine a harsh comment lands on your latest post. Rather than spiraling into defensiveness, you pause, breathe, and let it pass like a cloud. This resilience, this equanimity lifts you above the roller coaster of digital feedback, grounding you in a purpose deeper than pixels. This philosophy doesn't stop at personal peace. It reclaims our sovereignty over our digital selves. Too often, we let external markers, views, rate we test, analytics dictate our worth, leaving us at the mercy of others' whims. Stoicism flips the script. It hands you the reins, inviting you to build an identity forged in virtue, not validation. When you engage online from this place of strength, you move through the digital landscape with grace, unshaken by its turbulence. Better yet, you become a beacon, someone whose calm resolve inspires others to seek their own stoic path. At Stoic Way, we see this as a call to action: master your mind, and the digital world bends to your will. At Stoicism's core lies proheres, is the faculty of choice, the sacred power to decide how we respond when the world spins beyond our control. A server crashes, a post flops, a troll attacks. These are beyond our grasp. But our reaction? That's ours to command. In the digital realm, this principle becomes a lifeline, urging us to wield discipline over our online behavior with intention and care. It's about stepping back from the autopilot of modern life, clicking every alert, refreshing every feed, and asking, is this serving my higher self? This discipline starts with boundaries, those invisible shields that protect your peace. Think about your daily habits: hours lost to mindless scrolling, energy drained by toxic accounts, focus shattered by constant pings. Stoicism doesn't demand you abandon technology. It's not about becoming a hermit in a Wi-Fi-free cave. Instead, it's about reclaiming agency through deliberate action. Try this: Set a timer for your screen time, curating moments of presence over distraction. Unfollow that account that sparks envy or anger, replacing it with voices that uplift or challenge you constructively. Pause before you reply to that heated comment, weighing whether it's worth your energy. These choices aren't deprivation, they're liberation. Through this lens, discipline becomes an art form, a dance of willpower and wisdom. It's not about resisting digital pleasures for the sake of austerity, but aligning them with your values. Imagine you're tempted to binge-watch reels late into the night. A Stoic pause might ask, will this leave me refreshed or restless tomorrow? By choosing rest over indulgence, you honor your commitment to a flourishing life. This self-mastery builds resilience, brick by brick, until you stand as a pillar amid the digital storm, unswayed by trends, unshaken by noise. The beauty of this practice is its ripple effect. As you embody Stoic discipline online, you model intentionality for others, friends who notice your calm, followers who sense your clarity. At Stoic Way, we believe this is where true power lies, not in controlling the uncontrollable, but in mastering yourself. The digital world isn't exempt from the pursuit of eudaimonia. Every mindful click, every purposeful pause, is a step toward a life of meaning, a testament to the enduring strength of Stoic wisdom. Stoics have always revered simplicity, not as a rejection of abundance but as a gateway to clarity. In the physical world, they'd shun excess possessions. In the digital age, they'd counsel us to declutter our virtual lives. Information overload is our modern plague: emails piling up and letters, feeds overflowing with trivia, apps buzzing with demands. Embracing digital minimalism isn't just practical, it's a Stoic imperative. It's about stripping away the non-essential to make room for what truly enriches us: focus, reflection, and peace. Start with your digital spaces. Open your inbox, hundreds of unread messages, promotions, threads you'll never revisit. Take an hour to unsubscribe, archive, and organize. Suddenly, it's a tool, not a burden. Move to your social media, scan your follows, asking, does this inspire me or drain me? Unfollow ruthlessly, curating a feed that reflects your values, perhaps philosophy, art, or voices of wisdom. Streamline your phone, delete apps you haven't used in months, silence notifications that don't serve a purpose. This isn't about less for less's sake, it's about creating breathing room for your mind. Stoicism teaches that wealth isn't in accumulation but in serenity. Apply that to the digital realm. A cluttered screen breeds a cluttered spirit. Minimalism invites selectivity, choosing content that deepens your understanding over noise that numbs it. Imagine swapping hours of doom scrolling for a podcast on Marcus Aurelius or a book that sparks insight. Schedule a digital detox, maybe a weekend unplugged, walking in nature, letting your thoughts roam free. Seneca would nod approvingly, technology isn't the enemy, but its mindless use is. Use it as a servant to your growth, not a master of your time. The reward? A life of intention. With fewer distractions, you notice more the texture of your morning coffee, the laughter in a real conversation. Digital minimalism aligns with Stoic Way's mission to navigate the digital age with purpose, not passivity. It's a quiet rebellion against excess, a reclaiming of your attention, a gift you give yourself and, by example, others. Mindfulness, a Stoic cornerstone, is about presence, fully inhabiting the moment, attuned to your inner world. In the digital age, it's a radical act. Our devices tempt us into autopilot, eating while scrolling, talking while texting, living through a screen. Stoic mindfulness flips this script, inviting us to engage with technology consciously, intentionally, and with full awareness. It's about savoring life's richness beyond the glow of a display. Picture this: you're at dinner, phone face down. Instead of snapping a photo for likes, you taste each bite, the warmth, the spice, the comfort. Or you're with a friend, leaving texts unanswered to listen, truly listen, to their story. Maybe you take a break, no devices, just you and the stillness, watching clouds drift. These moments anchor you in the present, dissolving the digital haze. Through this practice, You sidestep the shallow pull of endless loops, those reels that steal hours, those posts that spark fleeting dopamine hits, and rediscover what it means to be alive. Mindfulness also sharpens self-awareness, a Stoic treasure. As you engage online, notice your reactions. A post irritates you, why? A comment lifts you, how come? This reflection uncovers habits that dim your peace, perhaps a tendency to compare or react impulsively. Armed with insight, you choose differently, skipping the argument, seeking content that grows you. Technology transforms from a stressor into your tool for connection, learning, and virtue. At Stoic Way, we see this as empowerment. You're no longer a pawn of the algorithm, but a sculptor of your experience. Take it further with rituals. Start your day with gratitude, 5 minutes naming what you cherish before touching your phone. End it with journaling, pen to paper, no screens, letting thoughts flow. These practices ground you, weaving balance into a digital life. Mindfulness isn't about rejecting tech, it's about harmonizing with it, ensuring it enhances your pursuit of eudaimonia. The digital chaos fades, and in its place rises a calm, purposeful you ready to face the world with Stoic strength. Here at Stoic Way, we've journeyed through the heart of Stoicism in the digital age, unpacking its modern relevance, mastering online discipline, simplifying our digital clutter, and embracing mindful presence. These aren't just coping strategies, they're a blueprint for resilience, clarity, and a life that thrives amid chaos. Which piece of Stoic wisdom struck you deepest? Share it in the comments. We're eager to hear how you're conquering your own digital storm. Give this a thumbs up if it sparked something in you, and subscribe to Stoic Way for more tools to live with purpose. Stay with us for an electrifying discussion with Alexander and Charlotte, diving deeper into these ideas in our upcoming podcast. Until next time, take that bold first step toward a resilient, Stoic life. You've got this.
All right, welcome everyone. Let's kick off this deep dive, and we're going to be looking at Stoicism in the digital age. It looks like you guys have sent in some fascinating material from Stoic Way, specifically their article, Stoicism, Thriving in the Digital Age, and you seem to be interested in finding some peace in this crazy digital world. You want to figure out how to actually apply these ancient principles to your online life, right?
Yeah, and it's really amazing how Stoicism, this philosophy from over 2,000 years ago, is having a major comeback in our tech-saturated world. And I think a lot of it has to do with how so much of what we experience online, all those notifications, the need for validation, the sheer volume of information, kind of clashes with, the whole Stoic idea of finding that inner peace.
Yeah, it really is we're constantly chasing those likes and followers when deep down, what we really crave is that sense of calm and purpose.
Absolutely, and that's where Stoicism can be so powerful. It helps us shift our focus from needing external validation to really focusing on inner virtue. Take the concept of amor fati, for example, the idea of loving your fate. Think about it. How often do things happen online that are just totally outside of your control, right? A post goes viral, and then it attracts a ton of negativity, Or maybe you get caught up in one of those Twitter storms, or an algorithm completely buries your content. Amor fati allows you to take a step back from all that emotional chaos and accept what is. It's about seeing those challenges as opportunities for growth.
So instead of getting all frustrated and worked up over something like a negative comment that kind of blows up, you can choose to approach it with detachments, saying, okay, this is happening, but how can I respond to this in a way that still aligns with my values?
Exactly. It's not about just being passive or ignoring your emotions altogether. It's about choosing how you respond. And that actually leads us to another key principle in Stoicism. It's called prohairesis, and it's all about recognizing the power of choice. Because even in this digital world where so much feels beyond our control, we always have the power to choose how we react.
Okay, I get that. But how do you actually put that to practice? I know I should just log off Twitter when it's stressing me out, but I always end up getting sucked back in.
It definitely is a practice. It's not like a quick fix or anything. But think of it this way. Stoicism is not about denying yourself things. It's about aligning your actions with your values, right? So if you value peace of mind, endlessly scrolling through a platform that just triggers you, it's not really serving you, is it?
You're right. It's not about becoming a Luddite or anything. It's more about being intentional with your choices. So if I'm constantly refreshing my inbox and feeling anxious about those notifications, that's a sign for me to step back and make a different choice.
Exactly. And those choices could involve setting some boundaries for yourself, maybe limiting your time on certain apps, or carefully choosing which social media accounts you follow, the ones that actually inspire you, or even taking a complete break from the digital world for a bit. That digital detox can be powerful.
So basically, it's about taking control of your digital world before it controls you, right? It's almost like decluttering your physical space to make room for peace and clarity, but you're doing that in a digital sense.
You got it. And actually, that whole idea ties in really well with the Stoic principle of simplicity,
Right.
which can be applied to the concept of digital minimalism. It's not about rejecting technology completely. It's more about simplifying your digital life so you can focus on what truly matters.
I mean, that's tough, right? We're
Good.
constantly bombarded with all this information, emails, news, social media updates. It's like our brains never get a break.
And that's why this whole concept of digital minimalism is so important, especially from a Stoic perspective. It helps us understand that true freedom doesn't come from having more things or information. It comes from needing less. Think about your inbox, for instance.
Please don't even get me started on that. My inbox is a constant source of stress.
Well, imagine what it would feel like to actually have a clean inbox, where every email is something you genuinely want to read. You can actually achieve that by unsubscribing from all those newsletters that you never open, setting up filters to organize those important messages, or even deciding to check your email only at specific times instead of constantly being at its beck and call.
Wow, just thinking about that honestly makes me feel a little calmer. It's like creating space for yourself to breathe, even in the digital world.
Exactly. And that feeling of spaciousness is really at the heart of Stoicism.
Yeah.
It's about finding that inner stillness even when everything around you feels chaotic.
Okay, so we're starting to see how these Stoic principles, like amor fati prohairesis and this emphasis on simplicity, can actually be used to create a more peaceful digital life. But I'm curious about mindfulness. How does that fit into all this? I always thought of mindfulness as more of a Buddhist thing.
Mindfulness is definitely a central part of Buddhism, but it's also deeply ingrained in Stoicism as well. It's about being present in the moment, which can be really tough in a world that's always vying for our attention. Just think about how often you're doing one thing, but your mind is somewhere else completely. Checking your phone, planning your to-do list, scrolling through social media.
Oh, all the time. It's like my brain has a permanent refresh button or something.
Exactly. And that's why practicing mindfulness with technology is so important. It's all about making conscious choices about how we engage with our devices.
So instead of letting my phone rule my every move, I could choose to put it away during meals. Or maybe focus on a single task without getting distracted, or even just be present in a moment without feeling like I need to document it all online, right?
Yes. It's about reclaiming your attention and being intentional about where it goes.
That makes so much sense. But how do we actually break free from that constant need to be connected?
It does take effort, I won't lie,
Huh.
but it's definitely possible. And that's what we can explore further in this deep dive.
My mind is already buzzing with all these ideas. I'm ready to dive deeper into the practical stuff.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it, how even just unsubscribing from all these emails can be like a little act of stoicism.
I never really thought about it that way, but you're totally right. It's all about taking control, right? Creating that digital environment that works for you and making choices that actually like align with what you value. Less clutter, more peace.
Exactly. And that same idea can totally be applied to social media, too. Think about how much time we spend scrolling through those feeds, always comparing ourselves to others, getting caught up in all that drama.
It really can be addictive, can it? You start scrolling and then boom, an hour just disappears. And you often don't even feel good afterward, do you?
That's because so much of what we see on social media is designed to, like, really trigger those emotions, outrage, envy, FOMO, you name it. But Stoicism teaches us that we don't have to be puppets to our emotions, right? We have the power to choose what we let into our minds.
So instead of just passively consuming whatever the algorithm throws at me, I can actually be more intentional, choosing to follow accounts that, uplift and inspire me.
Exactly. And remember, this isn't about becoming some kind of social media hermit or anything. It's more about using these tools in a way that serves you rather than the other way around.
Makes sense. So if I'm finding myself constantly comparing myself to these perfect lives people portray online, maybe it's a sign to unfollow those accounts and focus on connecting with people who actually bring me joy and inspiration,
That's a perfect example of how Stoicism can really help us navigate this digital world. It's about using that power of choice, that prohairesis, to create an online experience that actually supports our well-being.
Okay, so we've talked about curating our digital environment and being more mindful of our time and energy online. But what about when things go wrong? Like when you get pulled into some heated online debate, it feels like conflict is just inevitable in the digital world.
It definitely can feel that way. But Stoicism gives us a way to handle those situations too. Remember that concept of amor fati, loving your fate? It's about accepting that conflict is just part of life, happens online and offline. And instead of letting it get to us, emotionally, we can practice responding with wisdom and detachment.
So instead of just firing back some snarky comment, I could take a deep breath and remind myself, hey, I can't control what this other person is doing or saying, and choose to respond in a way that actually reflects my values.
Exactly. And sometimes the most Stoic response is actually no response at all. Remember, wisdom and justice are key Stoic virtues, right? So ask yourself, is getting into this argument really serving those virtues?
Yeah.
Will this actually create a more peaceful and understanding online environment? Often the answer is going to be no.
It's like choosing to take the high road, even when it's tempting to get all caught up in the drama.
Precisely. And sometimes that high road means blocking or muting accounts that consistently bring negativity into your space. It's not about censorship or anything. It's more about protecting your own mental well-being.
So it's another way of using that prohairesis, that power of choice, to shape how we experience the online world.
Absolutely. And, this whole idea of really taking control of your digital environment is closely connected to digital mindfulness, which we touched on a bit earlier.
Right, being present and aware in all of our online interactions. But I still struggle with that, to be honest. It's just so easy to fall into those traps of mindless scrolling or getting pulled into those online arguments.
It is a practice, and it takes, effort. But think about it this way. Mindfulness is about noticing those thoughts and feelings without judging yourself. So when you find yourself just mindlessly scrolling through social media, just notice it. Notice how it makes you feel and ask yourself, is this really how I want to be spending my time and energy right now?
That's a really helpful way to think about it, yeah. It's not about beating myself up for getting distracted. It's more about being aware of those habits so I can start making conscious choices.
Exactly. And as you get better at recognizing those digital habits, you can start trying out different techniques, to bring more presence and intention into your online life.
Like what kind of techniques?
Well, one simple thing is to set specific times for checking your email and social media instead of constantly being available. Another is to create those tech-free zones in your home, like your bedroom or the dinner table, where you commit to actually being present with the people around you.
That's a good idea. I know I've definitely been guilty of scrolling through my phone during meals, and it doesn't really make for good conversation, does it?
We've all been there.
Yeah.
But by setting those boundaries and creating those tech-free spaces, we can start to reclaim our time and attention and direct them toward the things that actually matter, right?
So digital mindfulness is all about choosing how we engage with tech and being present in the moment, instead of constantly getting carried away by distractions, right?
Exactly. You nailed it. And, this whole idea of being present in the moment is something the Stoics really emphasized. They believe that true happiness and fulfillment don't come from chasing after external things, but from cultivating that inner peace and living in harmony with nature.
So even in this hyper-connected digital world, we can still tap into that Stoic sense of calm and purpose by focusing on what we can control, making those conscious choices, and being present in the moment.
That's the beauty of Stoicism. Its wisdom is timeless, and you can apply it to almost anything. It can guide us not only in our interactions with the physical world, but also in how we navigate the digital world.
This has been so insightful. Honestly, I'm starting to see Stoicism in a whole new light. It's not just some ancient philosophy. It's like a practical guide for living a good life, even in today's digital age.
And that's what we'll keep exploring as we dive deeper into this topic.
It's like, there's this kind of contradiction, right? Stoicism is all about simplicity and finding inner peace. But the digital world, it just keeps getting more and more complex and demanding.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. A lot of people feel that tension. But remember, Stoicism isn't about rejecting the world or living like a hermit or anything. It's about finding that inner balance no matter what's going on around us. And in the digital age, a lot of those challenges are like information overload, being constantly connected, and this pressure to keep up with the latest tech and trends,
So how do we actually apply these ancient Stoic principles to problems that, like, Marcus Aurelius couldn't even imagine?
Well, we'll go back to the basics, right? One of the most fundamental ideas in Stoicism is to focus on what you can actually control. We can't control the pace of technology or the algorithms that shape our online experiences or even how other people behave online. But what can we control? Exactly. Our own choices. We choose how we engage with technology, how much time we spend plugged in, what we consume online, and how we react to all those, inevitable digital frustrations that pop up.
So it's about taking back that power, right? Not letting technology use us, but using it in a way that supports like our values and our goals.
You got it. It's about being intentional and mindful and making those conscious choices. It's about constantly asking ourselves, does this actually serve me? Does this contribute to my well-being? Does this align with the kind of life I want to live?
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is no, we always have the power to make a different choice.
It's almost like we need to become editors of our digital lives, you know? Just like an editor carefully chooses and arranges the elements of a story, we can actually curate our digital experiences to create a more peaceful and more fulfilling life online.
I love that analogy. It's about focusing on quality over quantity, right? Connection over just consuming content, authenticity over appearances. And by practicing those core Stoic virtues, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, we're much better equipped to make wise choices in all aspects of our lives, both online and offline.
This is really making me think differently about things. Even in this crazy digital world, we still have agency. We can shape our experiences and create a life that actually has meaning.
That's the essence of Stoicism right there. Finding that freedom and flourishing within, whatever circumstances we find ourselves in. It's not about pretending the challenges aren't there or trying to escape from them. It's about facing them head on with wisdom and courage.
So if you could offer our listener like just one piece of advice for finding more peace and intention in their digital life, what would it be?
Remember this. You are not a slave to technology. You are the master of your own mind, your own choices, your own destiny. Use technology as a tool to enhance your life, not to control it. And let those Stoic virtues, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance guide your actions online. And above all, remember that true happiness comes from within, not from those, fleeting likes and shares and follows.
Such a powerful message to end on. It's so easy to get caught up in the digital whirlwind, but the wisdom of Stoicism can really help us navigate it with more peace and purpose and intention. So as you continue your journey in the digital world, remember what we've talked about today. Cultivate those inner virtues, make conscious choices, and remember to unplug and find joy in those simple things. You might even inspire others to do the same. And until next time, may you find peace and flourishing in both your digital and analog lives.